Hey, what's going on, chess lovers? This is Maurice Bishop Chess. See, y'all know my slogan: "Life is a game of chess." All right, guys. I'm going to show y'all a lot of the highlights of my games, stuff that y'all have not seen before. So it's going to be very interesting. So if you're watching this stream for the first time, make sure you turn your notification bell on, and also don't forget to hit the subscribe button. All right. So let's actually begin. All right. So the first one I'm actually show y'all is the Black Lion, guys. I gotta show y'all the Black Lion game. Played against a strong player as well. He beat me before. We pretty much beat each other and everything, but I actually got this one. All right. So highlighting this pretty much gonna be the top one, two, three, four, five and six. So pretty much the top six and everything. So depending on how much time I got, we'll see what's up. But I'm gonna give y'all my top six, and I'm pretty sure once I show y'all this, y'all probably be like, okay, I gotta play this. All right. So my opponent actually plays D3. I play E5. He plays E3, and I play D6. Knight E2, knight B to D7, knight D2. Now, one of the questions was asked, do when you play the Black Lion, if your opponent plays something unorthodox, do you switch up your playing order or your move order? And the answer is no. I don't switch up my move order. I do the same thing that I always do. All right, so C6, same thing. H3, Queen C7, G3, Knight F6, Bishop G2, and then H6. So if y'all look at a lot of my Black Lion games or my Black Lion videos, you will see that nothing changes. I pretty much do pretty much the same thing. B3 is played, Bishop B7, Bishop B2, and then I go G5. All right. He castles kingside, and then I go knight F8. And y'all already know, guys, I don't gotta explain it, but when I go H6, it's not just to prevent the knight from going to G5, even though the knight is on E2, so I didn't have to worry about him going anyway. But also, guys, the whole purpose of H6 is to go G7 to G5. All right. So D4 is played, and I immediately go G6 or knight G6. He takes, I take back. Again, the queen on C7 is guarding this E5 pawn. So is the knight on G6 is guarding the E5 pawn as well. A3 is played, and then bishop E6. B4, in which I already told y'all how when white plays B4, he pretty much want to mess up your queenside area, want to mess it all up, but no need to worry. I'm not afraid of it because I castle queenside. Why do I castle queenside? Because now I have the open D file, and now the rook is in the same file as the queen. All right. But this is a little trick with the Black Lion because a lot of people don't. I don't know why they keep saying the Black Lion is the bad opening. I don't know why. Maybe they're not playing it right. I don't know. But Rook D8 or not Rook D8, but I castle queen side. Now the queen moves away. Now this is the threat. I play the move Queen D7, and now I'm hitting the knight twice, but also I'm hitting the pawn on H3. Obviously, my opponent did blunder. He decides to protect his pawn on H3 because I was actually aiming for this, but he missed the fact that it was a double attack. Now I go queen captures D2, and he goes B5, and then I just take the queen off. Now, normally, if you're up a piece, a lot of people don't want to give away the queen. But the thing is, when you're playing in tournaments, you're going to want to maybe take away the queen so that, you have a clear advantage. And in this case, I have a very clear advantage in this. Rook captures E1. I go G4 to mess up his pawn structure. It's not really just to mess up the pawn structure, but really if he takes, I get to go knight capture G4 check and then keep pushing the pawn up until the king is exposed. H4 is played. I play bishop D5, trying to trade off the light square bishop. He goes E5, E4, declining that. So I just go bishop C4, putting pressure on the knight. But also, I'm threatening rook D2. He goes knight C3. I immediately go rook D2. And now I'm hitting the pawn on C2, and I'm also hitting the pawn on F2. And this is a thing that y'all need to realize, guys. When you get your rook to the second rank or the seventh rank, make sure you try to keep those pieces on there as long as possible. All right. So he takes my pawn, I take his pawn. And the thing is, guys, I'm happy with my position because the knight cannot go d5 and it cannot go b5. This is kind of like the last video that I shared with y'all with the Black Lion. When they push on d5 or maybe b5, we don't want to take these pawns because we want to leave this pawn here so that it will restrict any pieces from getting to the b5 and d5 square. King g1, he protects his pawn on f2, and I decide to double up with rook d8. Rook c1, defending the pawn on c2. And yes, guys, I could have took the pawn on rook captures c2. I could have did it, but it was fine. I go bishop c5 because I have so much threats and everything. Now I'm threatening bishop captures f2. So I have a lot of things going on. Rook f1 is played. I play h5, just pretty much gaining time. Knight a4 and then bishop d4. All right, trying to exchange the dark square bishop. He takes, and then I take rook. Rook captures d4. All right, so after rook e1, you're probably wondering, so what next? What are we doing? So the whole point of me taking it with this because I was threatening knight captures e4, which is what I was going for. But then I found that there is a move that I can do. And a lot of times when you're playing a Black Lion, a lot of people don't like to go into the end game because maybe they're not good with their end games. Maybe they're just they always get stuck in the middle game and things like that. My suggestion to you all is when you get to the middle game, especially if you're an attacking player, you want to look for threats. You want to look for things where you could gain more material, especially if you're up a piece. You want to be able to, keep that advantage and, eat up the material, not just eat up the material, just to eat up the material, but do it in a way where it gets you in a clear advantage. And that's what I was going for. But in this case, guys, I found a shot. I found knight f4. Now, y'all probably wondering, why the heck did you go knight f4? And how did you even come up with this move? Well, the whole point, guys, is number one, this knight is pretty much is on a rim, and I'm pretty sure you heard of the principle. The knight on a rim is dim. It's not really going anywhere. It's not really doing too much. It's not like he could get to none of these squares anyway. These rooks is definitely not doing too much at all. And then also, guys, this light square bishop is pretty much a bad bishop, so it's not doing too much as well. So the whole point of knight f4, guys, in which my opponent didn't take, but the whole point of going knight e4 is if my opponent takes, then I have to threat e captures f4. If he decides to go somewhere like bishop f1, I have this beautiful threat of g3. Now, if he decides to take, then of course this would be bad because we have g captures f2, and I'm winning his rook. Another thing is also after this check, once I win a rook, I'll be winning this light square bishop back. So it wouldn't even matter. So I'm pretty much winning a rook, and then I'm also winning his light square bishop, and I'm also hitting the knight as well, in which he pretty much soon will be trapped. All right. Another idea is if he decides to take, uh, he could do that too. I could go f3. Again, even if he takes, it's still pretty much the same way. So he cannot take this light square bishop. All right. So what would he do? It's not like he could really go anywhere. So now this rook will have to move somewhere. Like it will have to move someplace. So probably the only place he could probably move is this move here, rook e3. But if that happens, I still have the move f2 check, and then if he comes here, I still have the move knight captures e4. Again, if he can't take because obviously I'll take, so he can't do that as well. But if I take and he decides to take the bishop, I still have the move rook captures c4. And again, I'm still attacking the knight on a4 as well. So it's like it's still not bad for me at all. Even if he comes here, I still come back. So it's not a bad move for me at all, especially with this dangerous pass pawn as well. So again, black is still great in this position. All right. So let's go back here. So obviously my opponent, he didn't take the knight. He goes bishop f1. I go knight h3 check. He takes, I take back, knight c5, and I go knight g4. Now you're probably thinking like, did I miss this move knight b3? I did not. I didn't miss that move at all. And this is another shocker move. I go rook captures f2 anyway. I could have took the knight, but I didn't. I found something better. He takes, and I do take back, but guys, I pretty much I think we was under time trouble, but the move that I left was rook g2 check. He can't come here because of the bishop, and after king h1, knight f2 is checkmate. Um, in this case, after he took, I took back. He goes e5, and then that's when I decided to do the rook g2 check. He comes, and then knight f2 is checkmate. All right, so that's one of the highlights for the Black Lion. You know, getting them in a nice smother mate or whatever. So I kind of like this game. So, but I must say this is like my bottom 6 or whatever. Again, I don't know if y'all saw my other game, the craziest. I think it was the craziest Black Lion game in history. That's still like one of my #1 games. I still love that game. But I didn't put that in here because I already have a video out there. But I'm pretty much showing y'all stuff that y'all haven't seen. All right, so that was the Black Lion one. All right. So this one is the next game. This is with the Elshad System, guys. The Elshad System. So I want to share with y'all, you know, different opening. I'm not just showing y'all, you know, the same old stuff. All right. So d4, c6, c3, d6, knight f3, knight d7, and then bishop f4. I go h6, bishop g3, and then g5. Again, guys, this is the Elshad system. Usually with the Elshad system, we usually go c6 and d6 first, and then knight d7. It almost seems like we're about to play the Black Lion, but we're not playing the Black Lion at all, guys. We're playing the Elshad system. All right. Hold on. Okay. So the move that he plays knight b to d2, and then I go bishop g7. He goes e4, I go knight f8, he goes h4, and then I go queen b6. Why queen b6? I'm hitting this pawn here, but I think here what I did here was a little inaccuracy due to white does get a tempo of knight c4, in which my opponent does play that, and I go back to queen c7. He takes, and I go b5 immediately. And my opponent did something very, very crazy, guys. Very, very crazy. And I did something very, very crazy. After b5, he goes g catchers h6, guys. So when I looked at this, in my mind, I was thinking maybe knight catchers h6. But the last game that I showed y'all with the Elshad system, I kind of had a similar position. I actually allowed him to actually take my dark square bishop. I allowed him to do that. So I decided to go b captures c4. He takes, and then I go rook captures h1. And yes, he does take my knight. I take back, and then queen d2. Now, you're probably wondering why did I do this or whatever. You know, he pretty much got some material, and I only got like his one rook. True, but at the same time, guys, I'm telling y'all, the open file means everything. I choose open files over material any day because of the fact that, you know, when you use the principles of attacking principles and open diagonals and open files and everything, you can really use that to your advantage and everything, especially if you're playing you know, moves that you really need to play. So after queen d2, I decided to go queen a5. Another reason why I go queen a5, guys, because if he castles queenside, obviously I want to go queen captures a2. I want to get all the initiative as possible. That's why I did it. He goes a3, and I'm pretty sure he wants to castle queenside so that, you know, he can do what he do. I go rook b8. He castles queenside, and I go queen a4. Notice, guys, I'm trying to get into his weakness as much as possible. Also, I am defending the pawn on c4. And then also, guys, as you can see here, the rook is still on an 8th rank. You know what I mean? So that's another thing as well. He goes e5. I go bishop f5, and I think e5 was not the best move. But that's pretty much what I did. I go bishop f5 because this is very powerful. Because this light square bishop is very powerful, very active. You know, it's controlling all the light squares. This queen cannot even leave this rank due to queen c2 mate. All right. So e catches d6, right? And then, guys, I do something that my opponent missed it or whatever, and I'm pretty sure y'all could probably see it, or maybe y'all can't. Um, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure y'all can see now because y'all can see my notation. I need to do this maybe. I'll do that so y'all can see. All right, but the move that I played, guys, was queen captures a3. The whole point of this move is if a catches or b catches a3, I have to move rook g8 checkmate, or rook b1 checkmate. All right. So after queen catches a3, my opponent gets me with check. I go king e8. Bishop d3 is played, and then instead of taking the bishop, guys, I actually get him in check first. Again, if he goes bishop b1, the block, this is still checkmate. So what he does is he goes king c2, and then I hit him with queen catchers b2, which is checkmate. All right. So that was one of the games that I really like. I don't want to say a queen sacrifice because that was kind of like a mate in 2 moves or whatever. You know, after the queen captures, but you know, it's still a lovely game. All right. So let's go to the next one, guys. All right, so this one I played as white. So I played the Elshad for white in this game. All right. So c3, d6, d3, e5, h3, and then knight c6. Now again, guys, this is like one of these opening moves or openings where, you know, people think that you're a rookie when you play this. They think that, you know, he shouldn't be playing chess no more. You know, it really messes up their psychology for some reason. It messes up with their psyche because they're like, man, what is this stuff? And it confuses people. So especially with this move g2 to g4, right? My opponent goes f5. I go bishop g2. He takes, and I go knight d2. Usually, like I told y'all before, if y'all look at my other videos, I showed y'all what happened after he takes. I usually go knight catches h3, and then I have this nice h file, and it's a very fun opening, man. So look at my playlist for the Elshad system. You can definitely check it out yourselves. All right. So after I go queen a4. I go queen a4. He goes bishop d7, and I immediately go queen b3. Now I go queen b3 because not only am I getting away of the bishop d7's way, but also, guys, I'm covering the long light square diagonal, and also I'm hitting the pawn on b. I'm hitting the b pawn as well. He goes a6, and I just take the pawn on g4. He takes back, and I go knight f1. All right. Bishop e7. And again, guys, he cannot castle due to my queen is still controlling this diagonal as well. All right. So I go knight f3. He goes knight f6. And I go queen catches b7. However, guys, I almost feel as though I really thought about this move knight g5, which was another thing I really did thought about. I'm not sure why. To be honest with you, I don't actually. I know why I didn't do it. I think I didn't do it because of the move d5. Um, because my whole objective was to go bishop catches d5, but the thing is, I can't go there because of knight catches d5, and I can't go queen catches d5 because of bishop catches g5. So that was one of the reasons why I didn't go knight g5. So I kind of stuck with my other plan, my original plan, by going queen catches b7. All right. Queen captures b7, he goes rook b8, and then I go queen captures a6. Another thing about when you play the Elshad system, when you start winning pawns on a queen side, that's a big advantage for y'all. Like a big advantage, because now you have outside pass pawns that, and potentially if you go into the end game, you definitely have a big advantage to win this game. All right, and that's pretty much what I did. He goes rook b6, and I go queen a4. I wasn't really worried about him going knight d4, because then I could just go queen d1 and I'm pretty much all right. He castles kingside, and then I go queen c2. I didn't really like queen h. I mean, I could have went queen h4. That was another thing, but I had other ideas in mind. He goes d5. I go knight g3. Bishop d6, and then I go bishop g5. And now after this, guys, it gets pretty crazy. Queen e8. I go bishop captures f6. He takes, and then I go knight g5. Why knight g5? Because I'm threatening knight captures on h7. But also, eventually, guys, I want to go bishop captures d5. He goes h6, and then I go bishop captures d5 check. He goes bishop e6, and I go knight captures e6, and then he just takes. Now he was expecting for me just to go bishop captures e6, but I didn't want to do that because the rook can't go anywhere anyway because he's still pinned. So I just go d4. I go d4, guys, because I'm ready to go queen f5. If you move the queen anywhere else, then I have the threat of queen g6, which is very crazy. But he takes, and then I go queen f5. He goes knight e8, defending the rook on e6, and then I hit him with the move knight e4. All right, guys, this is when it really gets, man, it's gonna get crazy though. D captures c3, and then rook captures h6. Yes, guys, rook captures a6. What was the point of rook captures a6? Because if he takes, then I have the move knight f6 check. The rook cannot take because the bishop is pinning this rook, and then I'll be able to win his queen on e8. So rook captures a6, c captures b2, and then knight f6 check. Either way, he takes the knight on f6, and then I go bishop captures e6. He takes with the knight, and I go queen h7 check. After king f8, I go rook captures f6 check, and obviously this is pretty much mate once he goes queen f7, and then that's checkmate. Now you're probably wondering why not take with the queen. Well, if he does take with the queen, then I do have the move queen g6 check. If he goes king f8, now I have the move rook h8. Now if he goes king e7, then queen e8 is checkmate. Even if you try to make it longer by going queen g8, I still have the move rook captures g8, king e7, queen e8 is checkmate. So, guys, and it all started with this H file. This is why, again, guys, if y'all watching this for the first time, the Elshad system is definitely a very tricky opening, as y'all can see here. Even with bishop captures d5, take, queen f5, knight e4, he takes, and rook captures a6. With this H file having here, man, I'm telling you, the H5 square is very dangerous when it comes to the Elshad system. I'm telling you, it's almost like a ninja out of nowhere, like real rap, guys. All right, so that was this is the third one. So this is like my bottom 6-5, like my number 4 game. All right, so let's go to the next one. All right, guys, this is with this must be the white lion, I believe. Yup, this is the white lion. So a lot of people ask me about the black lion and all that, but they wanted to know about, playing the white lion, for the white pieces. So this is how it goes, guys. E4, D6, D3, knight F6, and then knight B to D2. E5 and then C3. And guys, just like with the black pieces, we go C3 because we want to prevent the knight from getting to the B4 square and the D4 square as well. That's what we want to do. G6, Queen C2, Bishop G7, and then H3. All right. After black castles kingside, we go G4. C6 is played, and then knight F3. And pretty much with the white pieces, we're pretty much developing our pieces. D5 is played, bishop B2. D catches E4, D catches E4, and then Queen C7. Knight F1, bishop catches G4, and usually, guys, when the black plays this type of stuff, usually bishop catches G4 only happens if the bishop is on C5. Because now when I take back and he goes knight catches G4, now if the bishop was on C5, this would be maybe a better threat. But it wouldn't even be a threat at all anyway, because I had to move knight E3 anyway, so it wouldn't really matter. But I think this was more of him trying to break up the pawn structure and trying to get some initiative. But I think in this position, he doesn't really have the initiative here. So I just go knight E3, ready to trade the knights off. He goes back to knight F6, and then knight H4. Knight H5. So I go bishop catches H5. And this is pretty much... this game is pretty much all over after this, guys, because after he takes, I go knight F5. If I ever was black, man, if I was the black pieces, man, I pretty much would resign right then and there, because this is just crazy, guys. Bishop F6, where he's pretty much hitting my knight on H4, but I pretty much ignored it by going Queen D2. Actually, I don't really ignore the knight because it's defended anyway, but also my rook is defending it as well. All right. Queen D2, Queen H6. Now I'm hitting the bishop on F6. I have so many threats coming in here, guys. Knight D7, he defends the bishop, and I immediately go knight G5. All right, guys. Rook G8. And then, guys, the beautiful move, queen captures H7 check. Why is this a great move? Because after he takes, rook captures H5 check. Obviously, he can't go G7 because the knight is on F5. The only thing he got is king G6. And after king G6, rook H6 is checkmate, guys. Checkmate for that one. All right. Sorry about that, guys. All right. So that's the other one. So now we got like two more left. So this is so I think this one right here is like my number, I would say my number 3 game. And then this one is this would be my number 2. I don't know, between these two right here, I'm about to show y'all. I hope y'all enjoy this one. All right, so this one right here is the Smith Morra Gambit. I play the Smith Morra. All right. E4, C5, D4, C catches D4, and then C3. He goes D3, and I see this a lot, especially when I used to play the Smith Morra a lot. They used to play this in tournaments a lot on D3. They don't take it right away. They go D3, hoping that it will cramp White's position, but it really doesn't at all. Bishop captures D3, knight C6, and I go C4. G6, knight C3, bishop G7, queen E2, and then D6. After knight F3, he goes knight F6, and I go H3. I go H3 because I want to prevent the bishop from getting to the G4 square. So I go H3 to prevent all that. Black castle kingside, I castle kingside. He goes B6, and I go rook D1, getting the D file. Bishop B7, I go bishop G5. Rook C8, and then queen E3. Why queen E3? Because I want to exchange the dark square bishop. And also, guys, I want to attack. Rook C7, I go bishop A6, queen A8. And the whole point of him going queen A8 is to put the big pressure on the E4 pawn, which is what he wants to do. I go bishop captures G7, king captures G7, rook C1, knight E5, and then I just take the knight off. He takes, and I go knight D5. The reason why I like this position right here, because I feel as though my position is very, very solid. It's very strong. This light square bishop is not really doing too much at all. I'm attacking the rook here, but I'm not really going for just the rook, guys. I like my pawn structure. He takes with the knight. I take with the pawn. And of course, guys, I'm hitting him with queen captures E5 with the pawn. And what does he do? he actually defends with f6. Now, a lot of people will look back and be like, yo, like, what can you do in this type of position? Like, how can you get any type of advantage? Well, you got to look at everything, guys. As you see, he has weaknesses. He has some light square weaknesses in the area as well. My thing is, I would love to attack this g6 pawn. But the question is, how can I weaken this g6 pawn? Like, what can I do? Well, the best thing to do is to go h4, h5, and try to weaken this pawn on g6, which is my idea. So I actually go for it because I feel as though he doesn't have any real threats coming. But before I did that, I think I was patient with it. I think I did b3, which I did. I played the move b3 to defend the pawn on c4. And I love this beautiful pawn structure. Remember this beautiful pawn structure, guys. This is another pawn structure that you would want if you was going into the endgame. All right. Rook d8, h4, rook d7, and then h5. This is what I'm talking about, guys. You got to have a plan. It's better to have a plan than not to have a plan at all. So by me going h5, guys, I'm pretty much trying to open up the g file, but also I'm trying to mess up the pawn structure where I could get into his light square weaknesses. So this is techniques that you could do. After h5, he goes e6. You know, he's trying to break my pawn in the center. But the problem with this move is after h captures g6, it becomes a problem. H captures g6. Now I have queen g3. Now this is becoming a problem, more of a problem. And then, guys, if he tries to stop it with f5, now I have queen captures e5 check. And now I'm winning the pawn on e6. And, you know, the game is pretty much over. All right. So he goes g5. I go queen h3. Now I'm threatening queen captures e6, but I'm threatening moves like queen h7 check, where potentially I can mate him. All right. So for instance, if he does some moves like e captures on d6, I have the move queen h7 check. He goes king f8, queen h8 check. If he comes somewhere like right here, queen h or what is it, queen h5 check, king f8, and I have the move bishop f7. All right, and obviously he's not going to want to take this pawn because now you got the rook file open. So after queen h8 check, king e7, queen g7 check, if he goes king e7 or king e6, then I do have the beautiful move bishop f5, and after he takes, this is pretty much a done deal for black. All right, so something to look at. All right, so after queen h3, he goes rook h8, trying to get my queen off of this h file, but then I hit him with queen captures e6, and now I'm threatening his rook on d7. He goes queen d8, and then I go for another square. I go for g6, the g6 square, which is also weak. Queen e8, as you see. Notice how I'm going after these light squares. You know, this is something that y'all need to look at. Light square weaknesses. You do that, you do a lot of damage. You know, so that's pretty much what I do. So now he's on. Look, it looks like he's defending everything. So now the question is, what else can I do in this type of position? Well, in this position, I go rook e1. Why rook e1? Because I want to go rook e1 and maybe go rook g3 to do some more threats. All right. So rook d6, he goes there. He goes rook d6 to protect the pawn on f6, but also I believe he was doing it because he didn't want my pawn to promote. So I go rook e3. He goes queen h5, you know, threatening some checkmate. But of course, guys, I stopped it with the move rook h3. Queen f7, I go rook captures h8. The king captures. Now I go g3. Why do I go g3? I go g3 because it gives me room to go to put my king on g2, so I could bring the rook to the h file. Rook d8, I go king g2. He goes bishop f5, and this pretty much is not looking very good for black. After rook h1 check, he goes king g8, and then I go queen e4. Obviously, you don't want to go f5 because now I go queen catches e5, and now I'm threatening checkmate on h8. All right. So what does my opponent do? He goes queen g7, trying to defend the h7 square. And maybe he wants to go rook d7, but the problem with this move is rook h7. Um, Even after this move, when he goes queen f8, I hit him with the move queen g6 check. And then, of course, guys, the only way he could stop it is with queen g7. And then, of course, guys, checkmate. All right. So that was like my number two highlight of that game, which is what I like. So, yeah. All right, guys. So let's go to the last one. All right, guys. This is a beautiful one. I like this game, guy. And of course, guys, this is one of my favorite openings. This is my secret weapon opening for black. So y'all already know. So D4, E5, E3, D6, D captures, and I go knight C6. The whole reason for this gambit is black wants to develop his pieces as fast as possible, castle queenside as fast as possible, and then attack as fast as possible. That is the name of the game. Knight f3, bishop g4, bishop b2, and then queen d7. After white castles kingside, I castle queenside. Again, guys, I don't want to take this pawn because number one, I like to attack. I don't want to exchange queens. That is not what I came to play chess for. To exchange queens. I didn't come to do that. I want to attack and win the game quickly. Knight c3, I go queen e8 automatically because I want the rook to be on a d file. That's what I want to do. E captures d6, bishop captures d6, and I have 1, 2, 3 pieces out. He has 3 pieces out, but I have my rook out on a d file, which could cause a lot of damage. He goes queen e5, queen e1, moving out the way, and I decided to go h5. After the move, like knight d4, I decided to go bishop catches e2. He takes, and I go a6. And I go a6 to prevent the knight from going to b5 because I want to keep my bishop on d6. I don't want him to capture it. He goes moves like queen f3, and I decide to go knight e5. He goes queen f5 check, and I go king b8. After the move h3, I go knight e7. He goes queen e4, and I go g5. And the whole purpose of g5 is I just want to go g4 and start attacking, messing up his pawn structure or opening some type of file. That's what I want to do. Knight f5 is played. Of course, he's attacking my dark square bishop. I need that dark square bishop, so I immediately took the knight on f5. Queen catches f5, and I go g4. He goes h4, and I go g3. I was thinking that he was going to take the pawn at least. I thought he was going to take, but he doesn't take the pawn. Probably he didn't want to take the pawn due to the rook g8 because I will be threatening to take this anyway. But also, I do have the move knight g4 as well, which is also a threat as well. All right. So, and also I believe he went to f3 because he wanted to lock the position down so that he'll be all right. And I think that was the whole point of it. All right. But that's all. But that could be a mistake though. And I'm gonna tell you why. So after queen e7, he tries to exchange the queens. I decide to go queen e6. Again, guys, I don't mind if he take this pawn because he'll be giving me the G file, which is what I want. He goes knight e4 again, going after the dark square bishop, but also I believe he's going for the knight as well. The pawn as well. So I decided to go knight captures f3. Yes, guys, knight captures f3, and this is a very sneaky type of move because a lot of people, they'll miss it. Knight captures f3. If the rook went to rook captures f3, then I'll be able to go queen captures e4, and then threatening queen captures c2, and then maybe rook g8, so that I could go queen captures h4 and try to mate him. So that's my thinking with it. All right. So But when knight catches f3, my opponent decided to take with the pawn, thinking, he'll defend his knight here, but I hit him with the crushing blow of queen h3. Remind the knight cannot take due to the bishop is here, and again, I'm threatening checkmate on h2. And if you look here, with the engine. So the engine actually says, give up the rook. That's what it's saying. But if he does that, it doesn't really matter because it still be a loss situation for him. After this move, rook d1, if he takes, we have bishop f4, in which we'll just win the queen, and this is pretty much game over for white. All right. So as you can see, this is a big win for black. A negative 26. We actually got this game. So guys, but yeah, guys, those were like 6 of the games that I haven't showed y'all, but I wanted to show some of the highlights and everything. So I hope y'all actually enjoyed these games. If y'all thinking about playing some of these openings, definitely drop a comment below. If you want more videos about these openings, or if you have other openings that I do not even talk about, make sure that you drop a comment of the openings that you want to learn, and I'll do a video for it. All right. Again, guys, I thank y'all for watching me and all. And if like I said, if y'all watching me for the first time, make sure don't be a stranger. Come down, and watch my content. If y'all have any other openings or anything which says that y'all want me to do a video on, let me know and I'll do a video on that. Especially openings, because I see a lot of people ask me about certain openings, and I'll do a lot of videos for y'all about it. All right. So again, like, share, comment. Let me know what you think. And also, guys, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. All right, guys. Peace.